Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. I cannot believe that it is already 2024. This is the first video of the year, and I know I reach high, but we are going to go ahead and reach high this year. My New Year's resolution is try to go ahead and get 100,000 subscribers for this channel and my other channel, which is my animated YouTube soap opera in times like these. I know I'm aiming high, but hey, you know what? Lord willing, we can go ahead and reach this goal. Now, on to our case. Today, I will be discussing the mysterious case of Ellen Greenberg. Ellen's case was troubling and confusing. She was so well loved, but the details surrounding her passing trouble her loved ones. And they feel like there's something much deeper than what they were initially told about Ellen's passing. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Ellen Greenberg was born on June 23rd of 1983 in New York City, New York, to parents Joshua and Sandra Greenberg. Ellen was known to be kind, smart, beautiful, somebody who had a beautiful smile. She was known to be helpful. She gave people her full attention. Ellen was known to have a beautiful heart, known to be energetic, outgoing, loving, joyful. She loved fashion. She attended Penn State after she graduated high school, and after graduating from Penn State, she became a dedicated teacher, eventually teaching at Juniata Park Academy in Philadelphia, PA. Ellen was known to be the sort of teacher who looked out for her students. She adored her family, and later on in life, she was introduced to by a friend to a guy named Samuel Goldberg. The two fell in love and got engaged. On January 26, 2011, Ellen is 27 years old at this point. She is getting ready to marry Sam. As they are waiting to get married, she and Sam are living in the same apartment. According to Sam, he entered their apartment after, coming back from the gym, and then stated how difficult it was for him to enter the apartment. He texted Ellen's phone, trying to go ahead and figure out why the door was locked, but he had no response. Since he was unable to get in contact with Ellen and unable to unlock the door, Sam would be able to get in contact with the security guard at the apartment complex, who was able to open the, apartment for him and stumbled across a very disturbing scene of Ellen laying on the floor covered in blood. Sam immediately called 911, and as he was calling 911, he is explaining the situation, explaining how Ellen is just lying in her own blood, and he was instructed to do CPR on his fiance. The ambulance arrived, but unfortunately, it was too late because Ellen was no longer alive. Ellen is no longer alive, and of course, her family has to learn about her passing, and they are absolutely devastated to hear the news. And of course, Ellen's family and friends and loved ones, they are just devastated, but it's just very unfortunate to hear that Ellen's parents not only lost a child, but they lost their only child. Not long after Ellen was found, the police determined that Ellen took her life. They decide that she somehow took her own life while there were multiple wounds to her body from a knife. Because when I heard that the police made this conclusion, in my mind, I was thinking to myself, of course, I definitely do not encourage people to take their own lives. But I've heard that when people do take their own lives, they want it to be quick. So I was just trying to go ahead and figure out, why would the police come to a conclusion like this? Their reason is that the door was locked and that there was no sign of forced entry and no defensive wounds. The family wasn't buying this at all, and I really can't say that I blame them. Like I mentioned before, like Ellen was looking forward to the rest of her life. She was getting ready to marry the man that she loved. Despite the stress of teaching and despite the stress of getting married, she was getting therapy. And those around her stated how she had a lot to look forward to in life. There was an autopsy done, and it was shown that Ellen not only had wounds, in the front of her body, but she also had wounds in the back of her body. Now, I just don't know how you'd be able to, like, reach, like, or maybe you can, I don't know. Like, I just don't know how, like, you would just be able to stab yourself 20 times and, like, just be able to, like, do all that, like, front and back. Like, I just don't know how that's possible. So what I'm about to say next is a cycle of back and forth. So after this first autopsy is done, there are bruises all over Ellen's body, and the medical examiner was like, yeah, the police were wrong with your determination. Ellen certainly did not do this to herself. So after the medical examiner made this decision, the loved ones questioned who would have wanted to take the life of this beautiful soul. Even though the loved ones were not buying that Ellen took her life, the police were certainly buying that she took her life. And the psychiatrist who Ellen saw, the psychiatrist didn't even see signs of Ellen wanted to take her own life. Like I said before, this case is just a cycle of back and forth. So the medical examiner declared that Ellen took her life, feeling like it was possible for Ellen to wound herself 20 times front and back with a knife. The family is fed up, so they do their own investigation and got in touch with a pathologist. While the pathologist was, looking into Ellen's case, they were just dumbfounded on why it was determined that Ellen took her own life. Eventually, Ellen's family would get involved with a retired detective who would review Ellen's case, feeling like she was caught by surprise when she caught her life, which would make sense as to why the police didn't find any defensive wounds. The detective who the family got in contact with also noticed that Ellen was holding a towel in her hand, but with all the blood around her, the towel didn't have any blood on it. Alright, I know that I said that there was a lot of blood when Ellen's fiance found her, but I was looking at my notes and I realized that I was wrong. There was actually a lack of blood around her, and as the former detective looked deeper into this, it looked like Ellen was repositioned after the scene was cleaned up, and he was certain that this whole thing was just staged to look like she took her own life. Most of all, the knife hit the spinal cord. But the knife was found in Ellen's chest. So when the knife hits the spinal cord, that should be it. So how in the world is she able to get to her spinal cord and then get the knife to her chest? Everyone working with the Greenberg family tried reaching out to the original pathologist. When they reached her, she claimed that she didn't remember the case, and I guess I can understand, when you work as a pathologist, you do all these autopsies, you might not remember. Like, I get that. But, I mean, Ellen's case, like, when you're stabbed 20 times, I don't think that's something that you would easily forget. But since she didn't remember working on Ellen's case, the pathologist stated that she never worked on Ellen's case. Like, I really hope that I didn't lose y'all, because this case just gets confusing and confusing each little step I take. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to make sure that all of this makes as much sense as possible. So upon further digging, it was determined that there was a specific scratch on Ellen's neck. Because of this scratch, it was determined that someone had their hands around her neck. On March of 2019, after years of Ellen's loved ones trying to find answers, the state of Pennsylvania closed the investigation. Now with this next piece of information, I'm not sure if this was found before or after the state of Pennsylvania closed the case, but the police did look through the search history, other people looked through the search history of Ellen's computer and found search history of her wanting to take her life, but this wasn't made public years before in 2011 when it was told that she took her life. But also, there were some very. I saw like a little snippet, but it didn't seem to really discuss it further. But there were also searches of very violent sexual searches on Ellen's computer. And it just leads to how weird her fiance looks. Because what I found weird when I looked into this case, her fiance Sam was certain that Ellen took her life when he found Ellen on the floor. Because, like, when you enter into a horrific scene like that, you just. I mean, I don't think that the first thing that will come to your mind is that somebody took their own life. I guess in Sam's defense, maybe he felt like Ellen took her own life because the knife was found in her chest and the apartment door was locked. The family and the internet would also give Sam the side eye, feeling like the 911 call was disingenuous and rehearsed. Now, here's the thing about Sam's parents. They are actually friends with the current governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, who is actually the former attorney general. And it just made Ellen's family wonder if the friendship with Sam's parents and with Josh Shapiro, who was the former attorney general and the current governor, it just made the family feel like not much was looked into where Sam was concerned. Because Sam was questioned, but the police felt like he had nothing to do with it. The Attorney General's office disagrees with Ellen's family and, just disagree with the statement stating that they did all they could to look into Ellen's case. On September of 2023, the Philadelphia court determined that Ellen took her life. Even though they felt like Ellen took her life, they determined that the investigation was also flawed, especially when a cleaning company cleaned up the apartment before the police came in. But the cleaning company was never questioned. It just baffles my mind that any sort of crime scene, wherever it might be, whether it be a apartment complex or a place of business, it should not be cleaned up before the police have a chance to look into the evidence any further. Despite the decision that the city of Philadelphia made, the family worked hard to try and clear Ellen's name and let it be known that she did not take her own life. This year, Ellen would have turned 41 if she were still alive. Someone who was so full of life and loved by many is missed dearly. If Ellen's life was taken, then I do pray that those who are responsible for taking her life would repent of their sins and trust in Jesus Christ alone to save them and, realize what evil that they have done and admit to what they have done wrong. And I do pray that God would comfort Ellen's loved ones as they mourn her. My prayer is that they would seek God in their mourning and that God would provide them with the answers that they have been searching for. I thank you all for taking the time in your day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you would like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there is a certain true crime case that you would like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.